Are you one of the millions of people in your 40s that want to get back in shape but think it's impossible? Well, I've got great news for you. You're wrong. I'm Chris Soulame, and on this channel I help people with personal and professional development so you can live happy. If you like stuff like that, subscribe. If not, don't. Somewhere in my mid-40s, my body really changed, and I felt more sluggish than I ever had in my life. It also seemed I couldn't increase muscle tone or strength. I'd acquired a series of nagging injuries, and overall I thought, well, I guess it's just all downhill from here. But the great news is, all of this ended up being completely untrue, and thank goodness it did. I wanted to make this video to show you the steps that I took to regain my physical strength and endurance, and overall, really feel better than I've ever felt, and I'm creeping up on 50. One disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional or a trainer. This is not medical advice. I'm an average guy who's made some great gains for me, and I'm sharing how I did it. So after taking a break for a few years, when I was 46 or 47, I started back at the gym. And within a few months, I came up upon a harsh realization. I'm not making any progress. Some days, weeks, and months, it almost felt like I was even going backwards. As you can imagine, this was incredibly frustrating and even a little bit depressing. Had I hit an age where from here on out, I'm just going to turn into the average, fat, middle-aged guy that sits on his fanny and watches ESPN? God, I hope not. I honestly could not imagine a worse existence. I really knew I had to do something about it. But to make matters worse, injuries seemed to be compounding, and even a moderate workout started to become too difficult. What was I to do? Well, as luck would have it, I had a few extended work video trips back in Atlanta and Tennessee, where in between I was able to take a little bit of time. So each time I would bring my camping gear with me, and I was able to spend some time in nature. And during those trips, I had a realization that we are really built and designed to live and function properly. And if I was going to get better, I was going to have to get back to the basics. And at that time, I really even didn't realize that the process had even already started, but that's exactly what went down. So, in what I'm about to share, there are 2 psychological steps, and then there's really 3 physical steps. As I just shared, step 1 was getting back into nature, clearing my head and cutting through a lot of the negative self-talk. I realized that a lot of what was going on was just shit that I was saying to myself every day, and these kind of false beliefs and ideas that had built up because I look around and I look at the world, and it looks like when you're in your 40s you're supposed to have a gut and sit around and drink beer and watch ESPN all day. But that's not what I was looking for. Now look, I get it. Not everyone has the lifestyle where you can just take off camping for a month. But what you could consider is going to a local park this weekend or exposing yourself to the elements. Whether it's cold, like a cold snowboarding trip, or whether it's a hot trip, maybe down in Costa Rica or Florida where I live, nature is a great trainer for the body and soul. And as cheesy as this may sound, what I realized while I was out there camping and building fires and walking through the woods, I realized that we're born to work, we're born to function, we're born to move. And that realization really pushed me in the right direction. Now, step 2 was kind of along these same lines. I took myself off of all social media platforms and I removed the apps from my phone. Why? Because I realized that the mind, body, and spirit are all connected. Another way to say it, my brother likes to say it this way, is thoughts are things. And I was allowing a lot of mindless and even negative content to take up way too much of my mind space. Now check this out. I did this for almost a year, and what happened absolutely amazed me. Instead of feeling disconnected from the world, I started to feel like I actually connected back with my own thoughts again. I started to feel like my opinions were mine. It was almost like my self-judgment simply just disappeared. And at the end of that stretch, I can honestly say, I'm not sure I've ever felt happier in my entire life. Now, to understand what happened there, have a look at this article on hormones and happiness. This article was written by a doctor whose name I won't even try and pronounce. And it goes on to state that happiness hormones that the body is capable of producing by itself include dopamine, which makes us feel good, serotonin, which reduces depression, and endorphin, which makes us happy and thus help to reduce physical pain, And then down here in point number 3, it says feeling content with your situation and not comparing yourself unfavorably to others, which is what I was doing every day when looking at social media, either comparing myself to people whose lives looked better than me, of course, in pictures, or being really upset at people who had a different opinion of mine. The other thing that I started to notice is that my injuries began to heal up. And this could have simply been due to the lower impact work that I was doing through the hiking and giving them time to heal. But I'm also convinced that feeling less stress had a lot to do with it as well. I could just feel that that was happening inside of my body. Step 3 was cleaning up my diet from sugars and processed foods. Now, I also added meat back into my diet because I had been vegetarian for quite a few years, on and off. And I can tell you that I just could feel that my body wanted that animal protein back in it. I know, again, I'm not a medical professional. There's just something intuitive in me that knew that that was going to be the case. And when I started to add protein into my diet again, animal protein, I immediately started to gain muscle strength and muscle mass. Now, I'm not a big guy, but you know what I mean when you can feel it start to work inside of your body. You know when your body composition is changing. And look, I won't even start to preach here because I know there is a ton of conflicting information when it comes to diet, and I'm still refining mine on almost a daily basis. Overall, experts seem to agree that to get rid of processed foods and eat a diet that has a balance of protein, veggies, and healthy fats. Many people talk about the benefit of restricted eating and intermittent fasting. Again, there's a ton of experts that argue on this, but here's what I can say. I feel great when I restrict my eating times from 11:30 to 6 p.m. latest. And again, this is just because it feels good to me and it keeps me from eating too late at night. But I won't preach the science to back that up or the strength gain effects. Check this video out from Dr. Eric Berg where he explains intermittent fasting. I'll throw the link in the descriptor below. Step 4 was getting back into the gym and getting started on a workout regimen. And this has evolved over time. 2 years later, I'm able to push myself. But to focus on the beginning, I wanted to grow my strength and endurance. One of my favorite channels to binge on to learn new ways to do this is Gravity Transformation on YouTube. This was my go-to channel in the beginning. They really do a great job of explaining the science. Since that time, I've evolved and I follow advice of other trusted professionals out there in that space, but that's where I started, and I think you'd get a lot out of that channel as well. Again, I've linked it in the description. I have no affiliation, by the way, with either Dr. Berg or Gravity Transformation. I'm just a fan of their work, and I think they're doing a great job. So before I unveil the 5th and final step, I'd love to know, is this video serving you? Is it helping you out? Are you stuck, maybe feeling out of shape? You know you need to do something about it, but not sure where to start. If you are, I'd love to hear about it in comments below. Okay, so now back to the steps. Step 5, evaluate, refine, and repeat. This one is super important because we've all seen the person that keeps doing the same thing and expecting different results. I hate that I even just said that in a video. So once you start down the path, it's always important to take a look at your progress that you are making and aren't making. So you have to evaluate this. Is it working? Is it not working? Maybe find somebody who's an expert in that thing to help refine or tweak your process. This is a never-ending process and something I've actually really grown to enjoy. In fact, recently, I had this nagging meniscus. I'm not sure if it was a tear or just it was swollen, but the inside of my knee was starting to hurt me, especially when I would do things like ride a skateboard or, jump on a bike. Sometimes it would just randomly come up. Anyway, I hired a trainer who specialized in this. We did just 10 sessions together, and the exercises and activities that he had me work into my routine have almost completely gotten rid of any pain that I have. Now, I can still tell that there was an injury there, but it's way better. I'm able to ride a bike, ride a skateboard, go to the gym, and have no problems at all. Had I not been evaluating and trying something different, this would have never happened. I would have just continued to go back, maybe injure it more, and the situation would have gotten worse. So you always want to be evaluating your results along the way. And the last thing I say is repeat, don't quit. If you make health and well-being a journey, the gains will start to compound. And over time, You'll look and feel more vibrant, more energetic, more healthy. You'll even really feel younger. And that is why I'm glad that I didn't give up. And I hope you don't either. For more videos like this, subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when I post a new video. And if you have a question or a video topic that you want me to cover, drop it in comments below. I'd love to keep the conversation going for you. As always, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.